Mike Fisher reporting from the Star in Frisco, not in the shadow of the Star, as we often are, but we're here, and I'm really fascinated by Tank Lawrence and his approach to Jerry Jones's silence when it comes to what I'm calling a civil rights movement. And let me take a moment, if I can, and explain why I'm not using more incendiary to some words. Some people think that Trump is an incendiary word. Some people think Kaepernick is. Some people think Black Lives Matters is an incendiary phrase. But none of us can argue about civil rights, right? We're all in favor of civil rights. Now, I know that I represent, my political party is the Pollyanna Party, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe when I think that it's 99.9% of Americans are in favor of civil rights, maybe I'm wrong. But that's the way I like to phrase it, because I think we can all nod our heads to that, and then we can move on to understanding that those other things aren't dirty words. They aren't dirty phrases. They have to be dealt with. Tank Lawrence of the Cowboys is doing his best to deal with it in his way. And he and Gerald McCoy and others are out in front of this. They are activists in this community, and they have led to Jerry Jones being called upon to be the same. Now, I keep saying that the Jerry Jones that I've known for 30 years is not going to sit this one out. It's too big. It's too important. It's about the future of this country, and I think Jerry Jones wants to be deeply involved in the future of this country. I'm disappointed and surprised every day that passes that Jerry doesn't issue a statement of some sort in support of civil rights. The Jerry Jones that I know believes in his heart in the right thing. And I think Jerry Jones will want to be on the right side of history. In fact, I'll tell you this. I said this to Michael Irvin. I said, I think I know what's in Jerry's heart. And Irvin, who's known him for longer than I have, says, Mike, what do you mean you think you know? You know what's in his heart. That's Michael Irvin's defense of Jerry. My conversation with Des Bryant, when Des says, he's not a racist, I know what's in his heart. I just want him to see what we feel. I want him to feel what we feel. Tank Lawrence, though, is saying, we don't need it. If the movement doesn't move Jerry Jones right now, then that's okay. And Tank Lawrence, with various interviews with newspapers, and now I think with Stephen A. Smith, they kind of got into it. I must say, with Stephen A. Smith, with all due respect, we have to be careful about wagging our fingers at other companies. What does the board of directors look like at ESPN? Are they men? Are they women? Are they white? Are they Hispanic? I don't know, but I have my educated guess. I've worked for 3 metropolitan newspapers in my life. My editor, my sports editor, my publisher, and my owner at all 3 papers were white males. So I hesitate to wag my finger at what your company does or your company does. I instead kind of admire what Tank Lawrence is saying, which is, I'm going to worry about my own house. I'm going to do what I can do. Jerry Jones doesn't want to help, then we'll do it without him. Jerry Jones wants to just write a check. I guess we'll take his check, I'm paraphrasing, but everything else we'll do without him. And I'm reminded of a story from 1993. And the Cowboys had won the Super Bowl, and I wrote a book called Stars and Strife. It's still wildly popular, a regional bestseller. And it was one of 5 or 6 books that were written that spring and summer. Jimmy Johnson himself wrote a book called Turning the Thing Around. And then the reprehensible Skip Bayless wrote a book as well. And Jimmy held a press conference at St. Edward's University in Austin at training camp and stood up on a little soapbox, literally, like a little box, and announced that his was the most truthful and best of all the books, and that mine was second, because the next best truthful thing you're going to get is from Fish. Now, Jimmy and I were not best friends, so that was stunning to me and very pleasing to me. He also took the time, by the way, to say that Skip Bayless's book was garbage. He would not bother reading it because he did not grant an interview for it. Imagine Skip Bayless wrote a book about the 92 Cowboys and couldn't interview Jimmy Johnson. Tells you plenty. Then we got back to Dallas and got to Valley Ranch, and Jimmy called me into his office, which is scary. That's the ultimate call into the principal's office if you're in 3rd grade. And I said, yes, sir, I'll be right up. And I put my tail between my legs. And he said, oh, by the way, do you have a copy of your book, Stars and Strife? He said, bring it. So I thought I was going to go there and he was going to go, page 13, that's baloney. Page 67, you're wrong. Page 98, how dare you do that to me? And he didn't. Jimmy instead said to me, you give me a copy of your book and sign it, and I'll give you a copy of my book, Turning the Thing Around, and I'll sign it. And I did that. And he signs his, and the inscription, I still have the book. The inscription says, Fish, I don't need you to help me row the boat. Just don't punch holes in the bottom of it. And it took me a while to realize what he meant. If you're a college coach, Jimmy Johnson or whoever, and you win championships, you're the king of the city. You're the mayor of the city. You're the sheriff in the city. You're the governor of the state, like Jimmy was, like Barry Switzer was, like Nick Saban is. And what he was saying is he's come to realize in the NFL, every reporter is not going to be on his team. It's not how it works here. But, and I appreciate that, he was telling me, but get out of the way when I need to row my boat. That's what Tank Lawrence is telling Jerry Jones. Tank Lawrence right now is not telling Jerry Jones, grab an oar. He's saying, at least get out of the way. Don't punch holes in our boat so we can paddle our oars. Fish out.
Mic drop.